Melinda, thank you for your time. Tell me about some of the proudest moments of your life.
When I had my kids, yeah. I had my first daughter in 2008, Tessa, January 27th. And then I had my daughter Maya, February 4th, 2013. And then my daughter Alyssa, April 7th, 2015. And then my son Carson in 2016, December 22nd.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Loved it. Yeah, that's like, I was telling someone the other day, one of the most beautiful moments I've ever heard in my life is like my daughter crying for the first time after she came out. It like blew my mind. I was like, what is this?
It's very emotional.
So emotional.
It is.
Well, tell me about your kids. How old are they now?
My daughter Tessa is 17. She turned 17 on January 27th. And my daughter Maya is 12. My daughter Alyssa is 10. And my son Carson is 8. Or Alyssa's gonna be 10 in April 7th.
Yeah.
And then my son Carson is 8.
Yeah. You have some a teenager and some
Yes.
tweens.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, tell me about yourself. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in Everett, Washington on May 4th, 1989. I was raised in Tulalip area, Marysville, and then that was with my dad. Well, until I was 7 when my parents divorced. And then my mom, we lived in Linwood. We lived kind of everywhere with my mom. We didn't have stable housing.
And you say we. Who's the we?
Me, my sister, and brother.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So 3 of you.
Yeah, there's 3 of us.
And where are you in the lineup?
I'm the oldest.
Oh, you're the oldest.
Yeah.
All right. What was it like? The energy. Well, I guess there's several different places, but is there a place that sticks out to you where you like were there the most that you remember?
Yeah. The only stability we ever had in our lives is when my mom was with this guy named Jason. And we lived, on Tulalip, behind the whale wall in Cosita. We lived there for a couple years, and then they got another house in Marysville. But I was when they first got together, I was 15.
Okay.
So that was the only stability that I ever had in my life from 15 till, then I grew up at 18, got my own place.
Okay, so good 3 years. And so you moved out, 18.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Tell me about that transition.
It was good. I needed to get away from I was getting ready to have my daughter.
Okay.
And living with my mom and stuff like that was toxic. It was really bad growing up and stuff like that before him and even with him. So it was a big transition. My sister and brother wanted to move with me, but my brother was living with my father at the time, and my sister moved in with me. They always kind of stuck with me. I always raised them. So
how did you recognize it was toxic?
Because my mom was an alcoholic, so she drank all the time, and they would physically beat each other up, and a lot of DV calls, and a lot of yelling, and a lot of suicide attempts and stuff like that. Or, it was, yeah.
This is a weird term to kind of phrase it in, but was that kind of the norm?
Yeah, growing up for us, that was normal with my mother.
Gotcha.
Yeah. We either expected her not to be there, or she was there, she was drunk as fuck. And it was always something with her.
Yeah. And were you guys all going to school in this time too?
Yeah, we were going to school. Yeah. There was one year where she was sober.
Okay.
I remember. And we would go to church, and she would get us up to go to school. We still struggled a lot, but there was, we had truancy and stuff like that, and some, but the one thing is she tried to make us get to school at least,
Yeah, that's interesting that, of course it sticks out to you that year of sobriety and religion, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Go hand in hand with this, your mom, that situation?
Yeah.
Gotcha. So when you're 18, you move out into where?
I moved into a house in Everett, and it was a rent-to-own is my own spot for me and my daughter. And then after I moved out of there, I was there for a little bit, actually. And it was nice. It was nice. I had a job at the casino. And I had my auntie and my Uncle Jay. They were watching my daughter. And I had a friend that helped me with my daughter because I was working graveyard.
Yeah.
So, but it was nice. It was more, so it was like I had, my own life now, and I could maintain it and not, not have to go through all that other stuff, worry about all the other stuff that would be going on. I always worried about my brother and sister when they'd be there, but
Yeah.
most of the time.
You said your sister came with you?
Yeah, she came with me sometimes, but sometimes, like, if my mom she would try to she always would threaten to do stuff, like if my sister didn't go back home with her, or so sometimes the sister would have to go home forcefully, like, and it wasn't even at home, it's wherever my mom was.
Because your sister and brother are still minors.
Yeah.
So she, legally.
Yeah,
right.
my brother, he actually moved in with my dad because he was the only boy, so he needed that male role model in his life. So he went really younger, which was good for him because he got to graduate and he had stability and,
Great.
But like, I feel like I didn't go because it was too late for me.
Yeah.
It was already too far. It had much happened. A bunch of stuff had already happened. And
Great. Yeah, being the oldest, it's like, you kind of get the first of everything kind of thing. And when you're
not taking the bank?
That's what I was saying, man. Well, you're here.
and so you were at this house for how long?
A year and a half. Come right back.
Obviously, baby. I love you.
I love you too. I was at my spot for a year and a half, in Everett, and then the people. It was an old house. It was a really old house. The funny thing is, I had lived there before with my mom.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, years prior, and so that's how I still kind of had contact with the people.
Gotcha.
I
see.
because they rented to me, even though my mom got evicted from there. They still rented to me, and the guy was gonna let me pay to rent to own it, but. It was just, everything was really shoddy. You could go upstairs in the kitchen. There was this really door that's probably like this high, the height. It was just a small door. And you go up these steps, and in there is big old cement brick that's in the wall, like a jail bed, like a jail bed. And it was weird. But it was like a small little room, it was literally like the size of a jail cell. And it even had a sink in there, so I thought it was really weird that was in upstairs. So I don't know what they did with that.
That's weird.
But by the side, there's a little closet. There's a little doorway, and it's like big enough for like a toddler to walk through into the other side, and then go to the front of the house, which there was a little window. It was weird.
Like a secret room.
Yeah, secret room type of thing. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you always wonder in old houses, like, why'd they build this? What's the stories in there?
Yeah, I always wondered about that. Yeah, but so my brother wanted to make that. My brother had that room when we were young, when we lived there with my mom.
Well, he had that little room?
Yeah, he liked that little room.
Oh, right, because he was small.
Yeah.
It was to scale.
Yeah, but eventually he never slept in there because we always slept together. But that was his own space, his own room, and yeah, it felt like a little small twin bed on that cement brick, and it was it was crazy.
Interesting. And so after a year and a half,
then we moved into the Bayview apartments that were like, it was really pretty where we stayed. I stayed on Grand Avenue, and it looked over the whole entire, where like the Navy ship's yards are, and like all the other water. And I stayed there for about the same amount of time.
Oh, gotcha. And again, the same people?
These were actually the company that the house was where it's actually the company that they sold the house to. So that's how I ended up getting in touch with these guys, the people I rented from.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, and the father of the baby is around or no?
He was kind of in and out of my daughter's life because he was like...
Or your daughter, yeah.
My daughter, she kind of didn't take... she was really attached to me and my mom and my sister and brother. She was really attached to us. So when he started coming around when she was like 2 years old, she kind of would cry and be upset and not really want to go.
Yeah.
And then that's when I got with the father of my children now, Derek, and he helped me raise her.
Gotcha. I see.
For 11 years I was with him.
Oh, yeah. It's a long time. Yeah. Well, tell me about that 11 years. I mean, did you traditionally get married or just with him as a partner or?
We were partners.
Gotcha.
But we both suffered from addiction.
Oh, gotcha. And kind of touch base on that. When did that start and come into your life?
2010 is the year that when I turned 21 is when I got with him.
Okay. And with that came addiction?
We weren't addicted, but we were drinking a lot, hanging out. But then somebody had showed us that like perk 30s, like when you snort it, you feel better. It makes you feel better after you're hungover. And so kind of early, our addiction started in a relationship really early after that, because he always never said he would do pills or anything, because his mom was, he had the same kind of upbringing that I did, really struggled, and his mom was an addict too as well. Yeah. And like my mom, she was an alcoholic, so we kind of had that, and we knew what it was to struggle already before we got older. Yeah. But that didn't change what we always said we wanted our kids to have a different life, but we had fucking messed up there too, because that alone in itself should have showed us, Yeah.
You're not alone there. I mean, it's just kind of a cycle. Mm-hmm. Generational stuff happens like that. And so in that 11 years, you guys had
3 kids.
3 kids.
He had a son already, which I was there. I helped him raise his son as well, Caden. He was born in 2009, December 1st. Sorry.
It's okay. Don't be sorry. What does that bring up?
Yeah. I haven't seen all my kids for a minute, but he was a big part of my life too. When me and Derek were together. Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
He was he is, will always be my son, but he was a baby when me and Derek met. And me and Derek, we moved in right away together. Yeah, so we were there for each other all the way until our kids were teenagers. We raised each other's kids. We were a family. There's me and him and then our 5 kids.
Yeah. Tell me about some good times you remember as the family.
We went to Oregon to meet his grandma, and we took our kids along with us. We did a lot of stuff. We went to, not Ocean Shores, but it was on the other side, Westport. We did a lot of things with our kids, but then a lot of things we didn't do either, too, is where I felt like we kind of messed up, because, like I said, we were in addiction. But then we got clean and sober. Okay. We did, we were clean and sober off of opiates and meth for like 5 years.
And what?
Or actually longer than that.
Tell me, like, what transition? Like, why did you both decide, like, okay, we're done with this. Let's get clean.
We had our daughter, Maya, and I was using, and CPS and Benasha got involved, and they wanted to, make sure that she was safe or whatever. Which then my mom. I really think this one thing my mom sees, she was a terrible mother. I feel like growing up sometimes, but she was an amazing grandmother.
Interesting.
Amazing grandmother. She took my daughter in, and she got sober. Took my daughter Maya, and when she was born, and me and Derek both went to treatment. We both went to the same treatment center, but I went the day we got to have one day together after he got out, and I went to treatment the next day, and we got sober for our kids and got our daughter back. And I mean, we still kind of relapsed and struggled just a little bit here and there, but we got pregnant again. We broke up for a little bit, and when we got back together, I was pregnant again, but we were still using. So then I had an abortion. Yeah. But after my abortion, we got pregnant with Alyssa. So we ended up having her anyways. We weren't trying to, we got clean. We were still clean, actually. We ended up getting clean before that. And we had my daughter, Alyssa. And then, about a year and a half later, so Alyssa and Carson are almost 2 years apart. Like when Carson turns 8, then Alyssa's got it for a couple of months. They're like,
Yeah, same.
Yeah, 2 years apart.
Yeah.
And it almost seems like a year, but then April comes and Alyssa turns the next age, and so,
right.
But because she was a baby when he was born, so she was so spoiled. She's the only one of my children that was the moody one. She's the tough one. Yeah.
Yeah, my daughter's similar, 2 years apart.
Yeah.
And they're like the same, or not the same age, but a year for like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then the next one.
Yeah. So then we had Alyssa, and then after that we were more careful because we knew we didn't want to, I got the implant with the implant on or whatever, because we knew we already had 5 kids, like we didn't, and we were sober. It's nice.
And you guys working?
Yeah, we both were working. Derek's always worked. It's our whole relationship. He's always worked. Even through addiction, he still maintained his job.
Yeah.
And I worked a few different jobs. I worked at the toilet market for like 3.5 years, and then I worked at like Circle K, and then I worked at this barista express. This like at the Tribe, they have this like kiosk where they sell like espresso drinks and food and all kinds. I worked there for a while, and so. But other times when I didn't work, there's like a year where I went through, maybe a little longer than a year, that I went through like a kind of depression. Like I didn't want to leave our house, and I never really wanted our kids to go anywhere or leave. And Derek would go to work and come home, and I don't know if I was struggling with postpartum depression, because I think that's what it was. But I would constantly sleep and when I was home, I did,
depression, right?
I would be scared that something was gonna happen to my kids, or so I never really wanted them to go anywhere.
Like almost paranoid.
Yeah, that's how it was. That's how it felt to me. I never really expressed it to him, but he knew because I was going through something. Because, I just, I wanted to sleep, and then I wanted to be. I didn't want my kids to go anywhere either. I always wanted them right next to me. And another thing is, when I was younger, I was molested and stuff, and so I think at that point in time, that's what I worried about the most, is they would go somewhere and something like that would happen to them.
Yeah.
So I wanted, to keep their innocence from them as long as they could, to prevent anything like that from ever happening to my kids.
Yeah, that's interesting. Our minds are fascinating, but yeah, maybe that around their same age, you're like, you something clicks in where like, I need to protect these kids because what happened to me, the severe trauma.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm sorry that happened.
Thank you.
So that relationship ends. At some point,
2021, I hadn't been home a lot. I was always gone.
Say more about that.
Like I said, I had a fucked up upbringing. I didn't experience a lot of things that other people did at younger ages. This is where I feel like, and as an adult, then I met Derek and we were in a relationship, and I loved him. I would have changed, being addicted, yes, but, so when we started doing some things and where it had to make me be out there more, and then seeing all the people and hanging out with the people and the addict people or whatever, then I eventually just ended up not coming back home. I was just, hanging out and using and partying, I guess you should say. And Derek and me got more distant. And then one night he came to see me and picked me up, and he just went to it at a motel in Marysville. And I knew something was up. I knew, he was going to treatment.
Okay.
Pretty much, he knew I wasn't ready, I guess, or I'm not sure. He knew I wasn't, I guess, ready to get clean, or as so much as he was done and he was, wanting to get clean. And
But yet not communicating that.
we didn't communicate. We always did everything together.
Yeah.
Last time he went to treatment first, and I went to treatment, but he made sure I went. He would never. This time when he left, we had our house and it was empty.
Wow.
There's nobody there.
Kids and everything.
Yeah, everything was gone, and so I packed the bags and I never went back. And about a month or so later, he came to see me in Everett, and officially pretty much broke up with me. And I was like, You know, and I kept telling him I was going to get clean. He got tired of hearing it. You know? Which I don't blame him at all, because our kids wouldn't have the lives they have right now if it wasn't for him.
They're with him.
Yeah, they're with him.
Right now. Right? And he's clean.
And he's clean, so.
Yeah.
He's married now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so. Yeah.
Yeah, as hard as that is, as a parent, you think about your kids and you go, like, I'm glad my kids are experiencing this.
Yeah.
In a healthier
way, yes.
Yeah, and just a stable whatever. I don't know, but
yeah. And it was hard for them. My daughter Tessa the most, because I took her family from her pretty much in her eyes, because that was her dad and her brother Caden, and you know, now that we're not together anymore, she has to live with her dad, who was a stranger to her.
Oh wow, gotcha.
And so, you know, she wrote me. She explained to me that, you know, I broke up our family and stuff like that. And I understand, because I was in her shoes too with my parents. So she has every right to feel the way she does.
Yeah. What would you say to her?
I didn't mean to do that to her, you know. I can't explain how much I apologize for everything that she has to go through. I never wanted her to go through any of this, because I did. And here I am in the same shoes my mother was, and she's in my shoes now, you know. And I wish I would have done things differently. I can't go back.
Yeah.
I can't change it. But I know that I can make things better, you know. I was going to go to detox actually a couple nights ago. I was at the doors ready to go to detox. And I don't know what it is with, but I went to the doors and everything ready to go to detox. And they're like, oh, we don't have a bed for you, but the people that I was working with said they had a bed for me. And so then I tried to go with this navigator program. I don't know. It's in the process. I'm still trying to go, you know. I need to get back to my kids.
Yeah.
I do. They're growing up way too fast.
Yeah.
Way too fast they are. My daughter's already 17 years old.
Yeah.
She's so beautiful. All my kids are. But around Mother's Day and stuff like that, I really struggle with that, because I know they're feeling it. I know they are.
Of course.
You know, and I know they're hurting. And I know I'm to blame for that. You know, and I want to fix it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's like... a lot of people, I think, don't understand how substance abuse and addiction can be so hard to break out of.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, people are just like, just stop, or just don't do it.
Yeah.
It's like, can be all consuming. Yet, people do. Like, you've done it before.
Yeah.
You know, you've done it before.
Yeah.
So there's this like, oh, therefore you can do it again.
Yeah. My Gio, he always is like, I want you to get back to your kids. I want you to have that. I know, because he's always known that there's something missing with me. Like, in the beginning when we first got together, I told him, like, you know, losing Derek made me sad, but losing my kids, it made me reckless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would drive me mad.
Yeah.
Like, I could not imagine losing my girls.
Yeah.
Like, that would drive me insane.
Not being able to talk to them or communicate with them, and all the pictures and memories I have, you know, are old ones. Like, they're older now. They're like growing into little, you know, adults. Soon they will be. You know, my daughter Tess is almost an adult already, and you know, and like he's always pushed me, you know, and trying to tell me, like, I know that, you know, until you get back with your kids, I know that you're never going to be complete. You know, he's like, that's not what I want for you or for us or for our future. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I hear the longing and drive, and it's just,
yeah,
you will get there.
This lifestyle is hard.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, tell me about your lifestyle now. Where are you at?
Well, after all that happened, in 2022, I met Gio, who I'm with now still, 3 years later. we lived in an apartment for a little bit together. It was his apartment, well, it was our apartment. And we're both reusing still, we both have been in and out of jail, and we both have gotten out and had that couple days sobriety, or whatever, but then ended up back to using, but we got kicked out of his place, the apartment we were living in, and we moved into a motel. And then kind of that's where our struggles started beginning more of our homelessness. And this was in Everett, Washington.
Okay.
And then I was so sick of us going to jail, in and out of jail, being away from each other. We decided to move to Seattle because a lot of our friends moved over here, or from Everett, not friends but acquaintances. And so that made our trip over here to Aurora.
How long ago was that?
It was 2 years ago.
Okay.
About a year and a half to 2 years ago, because then we moved to Tukwila as well and lived there for a little while. And but yeah, it was about 2 years ago.
And when you guys moved to Aurora, did you guys have a place?
We came here and we started staying at the Oak Tree Motel.
Okay.
And we kind of had money, income, a little bit, but because I still get checks from my tribe sometimes here and there.
Okay.
And then, being on the streets, we need money too. And so, but a lot of times though, this past year, we've always kind of somewhat met somebody or found somebody where we could stay at their place, where they let us stay with them. But a lot of, I'd say about, I don't know, all the time, I'd say about 2 months, 3 months, not all fully together, but in parts, we're outside.
Yeah, gotcha.
You
On
know,
and off and
outside sleeping somewhere.
okay.
But it matters to me since we were together, though. This is both of us first time being homeless, and he never experienced it. I never experienced it. I struggled, being a victim in places, but I was never homeless like how it is now. And both of us are really high maintenance people.
What does that mean?
We really are high maintenance people. How we, with our apparel, when you see us on the streets, people don't normally think that we're homeless and stuff, or how we present ourselves. We really care about how we look, and that we look good, and that we don't want to look dirty, or pretty much you wouldn't catch us out here looking like the part that we are. People wouldn't really know that we're homeless sometimes. And yeah.
I'm curious about this piece. So you're working on Aurora?
Not working on Aurora. I'm not a working girl. No.
Okay,
No,
gotcha.
I mean we sell and.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's how you generate some
Yeah.
kind of income
Yeah.
as well as the tribe. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
So I mean, tonight, do you guys have a place?
No, not tonight. But
I guess yet.
not yet. Yes, not yet. Yeah, the day still hasn't started yet, but that's why we're getting ready to go now to go take care of what we got to do and
Right. Figure that out. Gotcha.
It's really hard being in a relationship out here on the streets like that too, because especially here with all the constant men that come, and they're always following me or trying to pick me up or trying to hit on me, and it drives him crazy sometimes. And I never really looked at it from his point of view, what he's talking about. He's like, I see these guys following you and you're not saying anything, and I'm like, what do you mean? I don't even, because I really don't notice it. It's because I don't pay attention to this stuff. I'm aware of my surroundings to the point where I know I'm safe, but I'm not aware of my surroundings to the point where people are checking out or following me and stuff, which I should be more aware, because a lot of bad stuff happens that way when people aren't paying attention to some guy following them or something, and so I started seeing where he was coming from a little bit.
Like men are assuming you're a working girl.
Yeah, they'll assume I'm a working girl. Before, I kind of used to dress provocative in a way. I used to kind of dress, just kind of showing a little bit more. And when I was out here, I learned from that, because you don't want to be mistaken for a working girl or something like that. And,
if you're not, you don't.
Since I stopped kind of dressing like that, guys don't stop as much or try to as much.
Yeah, that's a sexy girl, goddammit.
That is your man saying that, just for the camera and the audience. Well, when did you start coming to the Aurora Commons?
About a year ago, and they have helped us a lot. Actually, there's a couple of situations where I was in, and they helped us tremendously. I love coming here. I deal with the people and everybody here, and the vibes. They're not judgmental. Because when you go somewhere, being homeless, people look at you funny. They judge you right away, profile you. And when you come here, it's like safe. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't feel like that at all. That's why I like it here a lot.
Yeah, I'm so glad.
I do.
You talk to your kids?
No. No, I haven't. Not
Yet.
for a long time.
And not yet.
My daughter made a Facebook, so she could write me. And which being out here on addiction and stuff, you lose phones, or they get stolen so much that I have like 10 or 11 profiles on Facebook.
Right.
You know,
Just keep
and
making new ones, right?
And so she would write me on my other one, you know. And I've been trying to get in touch with her again.
Yeah.
I'm kind of still talking to her. She made a Snapchat so we could talk, send pictures. She sent me pictures of my kids and her, all of my kids.
Yeah.
You know, she sent me videos and stuff. And my mom got sober again, and so she would get to see them. That's another thing that I struggled with is my kids. And Derek knows this. Knows how much my kids love my mother. Even though we struggled with her.
Yeah.
My kids, that was their biggest thing, was their Nana, and that was her. They would be with her and choose to be with her any day, every day if they could. You know, and when they lost me, they lost her too.
Oh. So she's no longer in their lives?
No.
Oh, wow.
She's in Tessa's life for as much as she can be, but she's not. So they went through a traumatic, really traumatic experience for them.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
Yeah, there is. I mean, I don't know who sees these things, but it's like there is a chance that somebody in your family or somebody will see this, and I don't know. Stuff happens that is out of my control.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff happens, great stuff, and people will reach out and be like, I know that person. I'm her aunt. I'm her, et cetera, et cetera. So
Yeah.
just to say,
Yeah.
maybe
I don't mind. I kind of would want my daughter. I don't mind if my daughter seen it or people seen it. You know, like it's a part of life. You know, people make mistakes.
Yeah.
And we learn from them.
We all make mistakes.
We do.
We all do.
And hopefully this will be a learning experience. You know, for my daughter to see me. I don't want her to make the same decisions that I made. You know, and from what I heard that she kind of something happened. I'm not too sure yet. You know, because I'm not there, like I said. But I just, I definitely am learning from this.
Yeah.
I'm getting there.
One last question before we wrap up that I'd like to ask. Is there anything that you want the people of Seattle to know?
Don't be so quick to judge people. I know a lot of people out there, they like to trash things, do horrible things, steal from people, a lot of that stuff, and that's what they kind of profile us as. And I feel like they discriminate against us because of that, or because, but it's not a good feeling when people shut you out, especially when you've been shut out from everybody else too as well, that you're close to. And then when you come to a new city, and then those people shut you out too, it makes you feel less than, makes you feel kind of like, to me, it just, I struggled with it a little bit at first, not, because I've always been able to go into a room and people always wanted to be around me, I was always I always had like a good spirit, and then being out here has changed that a lot,
Anything else you want to add or say?
No, nothing right now.
Thanks for your time. It's good to hear your voice. I appreciate it. Appreciate it a lot. All right. I'll grab that little mic. You open for a hug?
Yeah.
Take care of yourself.
Thank you.